That's what we do, right?
Does
Pretty
anybody
much.
have the boot order up?
Yeah, I got the memory wall, or whatever the Survivor equivalent of that is, up. So first up is going to be Nika. I'm the only one.
Oh yeah, that's right.
No,
I'm remembering from vote out order.
Yeah, vote out order is probably a bit harder to go with. Let's stick with Coliseum, I feel.
Yeah.
So first,
I didn't get a chance to meet Nika, so I have no real opinion. From what I know of her, though, from like Facebook and stuff, she seems really nice.
Yeah, Nika was a total sweetheart. Her problem was just that in a tribe of relatively active people, she was a bit more inactive than the rest.
Yeah,
so it was unfortunate.
I never got to meet her, so.
Alrighty then, on to Dylan.
Not a lot of people knew this going in, but I've actually played with Dylan before, and we kind of had a bit of history. We're good now, but we made that first tribal exciting.
Yeah, I played minis with Dylan, so I thought he was going to be really, really active, and I was scared when I saw him because I was like, this is a really active guy, but then he wasn't at all. So.
And then he's just scored the worst in the challenge, and it was just best for everybody's game at that point. I didn't realize later on what would happen, but
yeah, the only thing I remember about him is he dropped in like the first 2 rounds of the rotating like 5 tasks betting challenge. So
yeah, because he was so confident that he could like balance for a long time that when someone walked in on him, he couldn't keep his balance because he was scared, and it just because he bet everything.
Oh, that's a mess.
$0.
Even I wasn't that low, and he tried to throw my name out there mostly because he doesn't like me.
All right, so third one out, and this one really like kickstarted my game personally. Gouda. Like, damn, that should not have happened. It
shouldn't have. Granted, I'm glad it did, because this game would have been 10 times harder if I actually was playing with Gouda. I learned in retrospect, like, Steve, amazing social player. Like, on par with Ethan as far as social player. Like, everybody loves Steve. No one would ever lie to Steve. Like, he had Jen wrapped around his finger if he kept going. He had Sunshine wrapped around his finger if he kept going. He had me wrapped around his finger. Let's be honest, he's my fucking partner. Pat. But I also know that Steve's downfall is that he's too trusting of people. So I know going forward, it would have been a lot harder, especially if we came into the merge how we did. And like, let's say Steve never went to the Coliseum. It was Tyler originally, and then someone else came in, and Tyler came back at the merge. It would have been a completely different game.
Oh yeah, I never met Gouda, so.
All right, fair enough. Next up is Tyler. I was bummed to see Tyler go the way he did, but he got the shittiest swap of all time.
He got the shittiest swap, and then he got what he deserved, because he was the one to like jump start that move. Like, he could have picked anybody else on that tribe. He literally was the sole vote. And he picked my partner. So even if Tyler and I did meet up again, it would have been the worst move for his team to vote out my partner.
We had an alliance. It was me, Kate, Goodies, and Tyler from the beginning. And then Tyler got swapped so bad, and we were like, Tyler's done. Like, he's doomed.
Tyler texted me, because Tyler and I actually live like 20 minutes away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if you guys knew that. Tyler texted me during the cast reveal saying that he and I were going to be a final 2. And I'm like, yeah, you beat my fucking butt. It's not happening.
But he was nice. I mean,
he's a cool dude, but he gets really invested in these games. And I'm really glad that he didn't make it as far, because I know he would have gone full villain, especially if Courtney wasn't around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad I never had to see that myself. But I will say that from the times I did speak with him strategy-wise, I always appreciated that he was able to keep it cool and level-headed. Something that a lot of this cast had some issues with.
Who are you talking about, Pat?
Yeah, like who?
Call him out! So
next person up is Courtney.
I don't have a real opinion of Courtney.
What the fuck, Ivy?
Oh my gosh, what the fuck? I was going through a lot during that posting challenge, Courtney, just so you know. But like, I hold no ill will against anyone. But with Courtney, I don't have a real opinion of her because she never even tried to talk to me really anyway. We had one small conversation when we swapped, and I know her from being Tyler's girlfriend, but there wasn't anything that really connected us to where I felt confident keeping her around, which is why I'm really happy that she followed soon after Tyler. But yeah, I honestly hope she does continue playing orcs because I feel like if she develops a strategy enough, she would actually make it really, really far in a lot of games. I feel like a lot of people underestimate her because she's new, and I don't know if she would continue in this community, but I think it's a good idea for her.
She's definitely got the personality for it. She just needs to pick up the activity if she wants to be a real threat.
Exactly. And she's very likable. Like, people like her.
She also, Tyler told me she did not like these games. Like, she just wasn't digging it. So I think she kind of just like was like, because I didn't really talk to her either.
The only reason why they applied was because Courtney wanted to see what Tyler liked so that they could have more things in common. And
you gotta respect it.
It was cute, but they weren't making it to the end. They would have murdered each other.
Yeah, yeah, she didn't talk to me a lot either. So like we never really talked. All I knew about her was where she worked. So
when we were in the Coliseum together, literally all they talked about was wanting to murder each other.
Apparently, right before the start of the rock posting challenge, Tyler went in and changed the password on her computer.
Yeah. If it was a live endurance comp, they wanted to do it side by side so that they could start pushing each other. Thankfully, it was a geography competition.
All right, next person on our list and the first member of our jury, Kevin.
Honestly, Kevin was his own worst enemy in this game. Like, my strategy, like, really going into the game, especially like after Gouda left, was like attaching to partners and having a good connection with Kevin and Ethan. I feel like really was my best bet, and I adore Kevin. I think he's an amazing person. I think he's just like a huge ball of sunlight in this fucking dark, depressing world. And I'm really sad that he doesn't want to play these games anymore because he just feels like, you know, he is his own worst enemy.
I love Kevin, and I'm so upset that he hates me now because of that whole fucking terrible thing, because I was so okay with Curtis, but then Curtis, you know, everybody knows what Curtis does and flips everything around, and then it just went terribly, and like now Kevin hates me, called me a snake on his way out, and I just feel so bad because I loved Kevin. Like, we played Roblox together, like he was like I just loved him so much, and I feel so bad, and like I just hope after everything he just does not hate my guts.
I've never done a 180 on a person as quickly as I did on Kevin. I prediction wrote a season of Voyage in which he played, and he got third. And his game was just the messiest thing. Like, I was watching from a distance. I was like, can never play with him immediate first boot, like if we're on the same tribe. And then as soon as Merge hit and we started talking, I was like, this guy's likable.
He is. He's very likable. Like, I was in a viewer's lounge for when he played his most recent season of Double Cross. He is a very social character, which was what worried me most about him. But I think that's also his biggest downfall, is because he is very trusting of people. And when people don't do what he wants to do, he kind of just spirals. So, like, my reasoning for turning on Kevin was he was bringing me into his downward spiral. So I had to abandon ship.
All right, next up we got, I'm surprised he's this low on the list, but I guess the Coliseum did him in, Curtis.
I love Curtis with every fiber of my being. I am so surprised that Curtis and I have not spoken to each other before this game, because I've been in the community for about a year and I've known of Curtis for a long time. And I know that he's a really smart player. I know that he's really fun, but I've never actually gotten to meet him. And I'm so happy that I finally have. Like, I feel like he's like my gay dad.
I met Curtis 3 years ago, and we played a Blood versus Water game, but I was with my boyfriend at that point. Like, I didn't play with Ryan. And Curtis was like, I followed Curtis through everything. And then it came to like Final 6, and we turned on each other because he didn't want to bring me to the end. He wanted to bring a goat. So we we didn't really smash heads in that game, but then this game, obviously I saw Curtis and I was like, I love Curtis. I'm so happy. I told Ryan right away, work with Curtis. And then it just didn't go. I think Blood versus Water made it so much harder because obviously I knew he was throwing out Ryan's name and I'm going to protect Ryan over anybody. And now Curtis we all heard the 10 on that challenge. We all know it was about me, whiny, emotional person. Because obviously I was emotional because I loved Curtis so much and it just sucks. And I hope he does, because I know he hates me right now, and I just hope he doesn't hate me after this because I love him so much.
Curtis was the first person that I vibed with in this game by far, like even before Gouda, and that was pretty quick too. But somewhere like right at the merge, we just lost it because I think in the same way as Blood vs. Water had a negative effect with you and him, Lexi, I think it had a negative effect on me and him because he couldn't separate me from Kate. Mm-hmm. And he had an issue with Kate, therefore he had an issue with me.
Yeah, I feel like that's where a lot of people kind of separated because like immediately after the Ethan vote, Curtis and Goodies came running to me because they felt like they made like a horrible mistake and they wanted to keep a number with them. So I feel like it was a good move on their part, but like, whew, that was messy.
It may have been a good move on their part for you, but I will say it was the main reason why I targeted both of them because my name came up against.
I'm glad you did because I'm here. They're not, I am.
Well, speaking of their, second part is also our next person, Goodies.
I legit cried when I had to write down Goodies' name because I love Goodies. Like, even though he's a mess as a human being, I relate to that. He was someone that I envisioned like going to the end with because just like he's such a likable person, but he was also someone that didn't think really strategically ahead in the game. He was mostly just focused on getting to the end with Curtis. And I was fine with that. But it also really sucked going into live night after Curtis was voted out and I just want immunity. I can't even like enjoy it. And then I have to vote out someone when they're literally begging me to just throw a vote somewhere, even though I know I'm going to be in the majority. I was like sobbing. Like that's the only time I sobbed in this game was voting out Goodies.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Goodies. I mean, we had me, him, and Kate were a 3 that we had, and I loved Goodies. Obviously I didn't make as big as a connection as him and like as me and Curtis had, so Goodies was always just kind of there, but like I loved his personality. He was always bubbly and fun, and even when he like called out Ryan for being inactive, I still laughed at his funny joke because he's just so fun.
In addition to being like all that and more, just a really likable dude even when his back was against the wall, Goodies also gave me a lot of music recommendations that I'll always be appreciative of. I'm actually going to see a band at Oshiega this summer on his recommendation. So.
Ooh.
All right, next up. This was probably one of the hardest votes in the game. Ryan. I did not like voting Ryan. I will say that right now. That hurt like a bitch.
I have no real opinion of Ryan. I don't even know if he has me as a contact on Skype.
He doesn't. He kept saying play ladder.
Let me tell you why I didn't feel the need to reach out to Ryan. Because you hated me. I felt like you absolutely hated me. And like, as we said before, like it's a Blood versus Water game. And it's like you're working with partners. Mm-hmm. So if one person absolutely despises you in that partnership, what's the real point in going to another person? Especially that early in the game. Like, I kind of wanted to reach out to Ryan in the beginning, but I realized it would be a bad move, especially like right after the Ethan vote, right after the Kevin vote. Like there was no separating. So it was kind of hard for me to feel like I could invest myself in another person when they didn't want to give me the same respect in return. Plus he also voted for me. In a round that was kind of just like a throwaway. So I'm kind of miffed about that.
Ryan is, I wish you could have gotten him because he's such a, he was very emotional, unstable.
From the immunity challenge, he seems like a hoot, and I feel like I would really connect with Ryan. It was just the circumstance of the game that didn't work out well.
Yeah, he was very emotional and unstable this game. He flipped out on Curtis, he flipped out on Goodies, because when Pat was supposed to be the vote, we didn't like that, and he just flipped out on everybody. He loved you, Pat, and that's why I was so upset at you, and I know you had to do it. Like, I couldn't go to the end with Ryan, but he and then he went to the hospital, had gallstones, so he was like inactive for like 2 weeks, and like this just wasn't his game because he's usually way more active, way more social, but he was just like in a rut, and I felt like I kind of had to help play for him too, but I know I had to let him go too. But he's such a great person. I love him.
And moving on to the final partner of ours who's been voted out, Kate was next.
I know you guys. I feel like you guys are like so much more connected than I am with a lot of the people right now. I loved Kate. I personally loved Kate. I do. I think she's an amazing person. I feel like she was an amazing strategist in this game, and I feel like she really is knowing her reputation that I heretofore learned about. My only thing is I knew immediately when she didn't want to work with me. And that was any time that I tried to talk strategy with her, probably after Courtney's vote, she immediately shut down. She like went on silent. She was doing something. Like I knew immediately when she didn't want to work with me. And that made it something that was a lot harder for me to try and connect with. And I feel like Kate hates me because she also voted me out of Gilligan's. So I don't know.
Say,
I feel like
people egged me on to not like you more. So don't think it was just me like talking, like everybody, like, so I don't want them to be like I don't know if they came to you and was like, Lexi was like saying all this shit about you, because they were too. And I don't want that, like, everybody.
I know. Everyone talks shit about everybody in this game. Most people were saying, Pat, you have to have said at least one bad thing.
No, I'm more interested in what was said about me.
It was mostly about the fact you're Canadian. Anyway, kidding. But yeah, most of the stuff that was being thrown around came, like, I feel like Kate was the shit stirrer in a lot of this situation, and I feel like her blindside was the best move of the game at that moment, because it just tumbled into this snowball of her going to the Coliseum with an idol, giving it to Ethan coming back into the game. Like, it worked out completely in the favor of the people that did vote her out.
Do you want to go next, Pat, or do you want me to?
It's your call.
I have a lot to say about Kate.
All right, and I'll keep it relatively straightforward. Coming into the game,
she was my partner. She's I8.
Yeah. No, coming into the game, it had been a while since Kate and I had actively had regular conversations, and this game made me miss that more than anything. And I really, really regret all the time that we went without talking.
Aww.
Okay. So me and Kate played in Dare together. Everybody know that. But we were not on the same side at all. And then coming into this game, I saw her cast, and I was like, she's not going to work with me. I'm out of this game. And I know Kate is such a good game player. So, but then we just connected instantly. Honestly, I cried more for her going home. I didn't even cry when Ryan went home. But when Kate went home, I just started bawling, because I felt like it was kind of my fault, because I thought Ryan was going, and I tried to push like Kate to just not vote Ryan, to do Curtis. And then I felt like her going home was my fault. And like, I was just so upset. I lost my best friend in this game. Like, I talked to her more than Ryan. Like, I loved Kate. Like, everybody knew I loved Kate. That's why they didn't tell me about the Pat vote. And like, so I don't know. She was just an amazing person, and I just can't wait to talk to her again.
Agreed. Next up. Oh, yeah. Cats are awesome. Next up, we got Sunshine.
Oh, my showman. Sunshine and I played Deception together. And I love Sunshine, yet I also hate Sunshine at the same time. I love Sunshine because he's just one of those characters. You know when someone's named Sunshine that they're going to be a character. He is just like out of this world, ball of energy, super positive. My only thing with Sunshine was I knew in the beginning that he was with me, but I never knew afterward how close we really were. Because like he and Jen always said that they were never with each other, blah, 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 but they were going to the end together. Let's face it. Like, we all know they wanted to take each other to the end. Like, they made a Final 3 deal with me, and I'm like, I know, not happening. But I love Sunshine because of the person that he is. Like, he doesn't bullshit you. He tells you exactly what he wants to do. If you don't want to do it, he'll understand. He may either sway in his opinion because of what you're saying, or he'll stand firm, which is what I really like about Sunshine. And he won't actively try and throw you under the bus unless you are someone that's targeting him.
Yeah. First conversation I ever had with Sunshine, I said, a grown man who goes by the name Sunshine has the kind of like positive disposition I want to surround myself around. And every single round of the game, he continued to prove me right. I think that he was like terrible simile incoming. He was a ray of sunlight on the darker parts of this game.
Like my main concern, like with the force field chat having Sunshine and Jen in it. I didn't know how close you were, especially with Jen and Sunshine. And I felt like if it came down to a situation where it's like, if Pat has to choose between Jen, Sunshine, or I to go home, he's probably going to choose me.
No.
He told me you were a good dude, though.
That was my thought process. You have to understand that's my thought process because it's a game.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Plus, Ethan had idols. We could do whatever the fuck we wanted.
Yeah, Sunshine was really sweet. Like, I obviously never really worked with him. We never had like it was never like I would save Sunshine, but I did like talking to him, and he was so sweet. And even when like we kind of got in like a riff, he was still like so nice about it. Like he would not fight me. Like
no,
so
never someone to fight unless it's like you're really attacking someone, which is what I really appreciate about Sunshine. Like,
yeah, he was really nice.
In Deception when he was still playing Double Cross, and he was someone that was a really huge contender. He's always a loyal person. He never goes against people unless they go against him first, which is something that I truly respect about Sunshine. And I just
Kate might disagree with that.
Yeah,
but that's okay.
Kate protected Sunshine all the time, and I was like, why?
Well, then we also have to see what happened later.
Speaking of later, our fifth placer, Jen.
Ugh. Honestly, that tribal hurt. That tribal hurt so much. Like, I haven't played with Jen before. I've seen her around in the community before, and I know that she's a fierce player, and I know that she's someone that's very likable, but she just gets so wrapped up in her head about strategy. But actively seeing someone like pour their heart out and still thinking like, what is the best move for my game? It's so hard. Like, I never really knew where Jen lied with me because she was still close to Sunshine. I felt like she would be closer to you. She did vote me out. And when she said that she voted me out, the only reason was because she wanted Steve back over me, even though Steve had already been eliminated. And she didn't know. I was more like, oh, you like my partner more than me? Okay. You don't really want to work with me. It's just by association. So I felt like really it was hard to gauge with Jen where she really was. And then after Sunshine was voted out, I think it just kind of downward spiraled. I feel like if she had taken things more with a grain of salt, didn't take it as personally, and just kind of like worked with everyone to try and save herself, I feel like it would have been a very different outcome. But I feel like the way that she handled it, like she came to me at like 12 o'clock on a Monday, like screaming at me about why it was a bad decision, screaming at me to talk game. And I just didn't take it well. Because like people don't realize it's not just the first impression that matters. It's how you treat people throughout the entire game.
Well, as someone who was in Jen's good books, I had wanted to work with Jen since I watched her season of Voyage, which is also the same one I was talking about with Kevin earlier. She came across as messy, but as someone who thinks the game through very well. That's the type of people that I like to play with. At the same time, though, like I wasn't blind to the fact that she was a huge threat. Jen, I'm sorry, I definitely did throw your name out there a couple times. It didn't take, and that I think is a really solid hallmark of what a good social player you are. The people were that reticent to vote you out. And it took three idols to take out your partner. And the next round, it was just really hard for you to gain your footing.
Technically, it only took one, but...
3 were played. Let me have this.
I went out in the most epic way possible, let's be fair.
And just to close out on Jen, I think that she's an absolutely tremendous person. It goes beyond her gameplay ability, which, as we all know, is pretty top notch. But she's also just a very genuine person. And I think, like Kate, she wears her heart on her sleeve. If she has an issue with you, she'll let you know. And if she doesn't, you know exactly where you stand with her at all times.
When I first saw Jen was in this cast, I was really happy because I played in Dirt with her, and me and her were on the bottom, and we worked but she got voted out. But I loved talking to Jen, like I love Jen, and for some reason we just did not connect in this game ever. Like it was just weird. She connected with my partner. She just did not connect with me at all. I was really upset with her when she voted out Ryan, just because Ryan also protected her so much. Obviously, I knew it had to happen. I'm just an emotional player, but I love Jen. I felt bad when she was just crying the whole tribal. Like I was like, damn, this sucks.
Yeah.
But she's such a sweet person.
You can tell who Jen wants to work with because she'll talk to them more often. And I feel like with Jen too, like she goes in knowing exactly what she wants to do. And when that changes, she kind of just like tumbleweeds into everything. Like she wanted to go in, have her, Sunshine, me, and Gouda be a Final Four. And it just didn't work out. So it kind of just like spiraled into something that she couldn't control anymore.
And our most recent jury member as of last night, Ethan.
Oh, my super like on Tinder. Oh.
Can I go first on
I
Ethan?
hated every second of that tribal. Go ahead, Pat. I have too much to say about Ethan.
I just have one line to say about Ethan, so I'm going to keep it short and simple. Ethan may be the most perfect Survivor org player I've ever seen.
I know!
Yes.
I don't think a lot of people realize this going in. Ethan had already played 2 seasons of Control. He won 1 and was runner-up in the 2nd. So he is somebody that's very social. This is his first Survivor game, and it worked to his advantage, especially since there was a lot of people that were just like very likable people where connections could be made. He was able to showmance almost every straight woman in this cast, including Jen.
Including me who has a boyfriend.
Huh?
I said including me who has a boyfriend.
I mean, same. Like when I first started, I was like, woman crush Wednesday. I have a crush on Ethan. But like, I feel like my social connection with Ethan was the strongest out of everyone in this game, even though he left and came back. Because he is a social player, but he is also very smart, and he's someone that will listen to you when you have something to say. He's very collaborative, which is what I really liked about working with him. Like we talked out strategies, like what do we think is this? What do we think is this? Worst case scenario, what do we do? But I also knew going to the end with Ethan was never, ever, ever gonna work in my favor because everybody loves Ethan. It would have been hard to go against Ethan. That's why I felt like I had to vote him out. And then having to go against him in a fire making after we both wrote down each other's names, after we promised we wouldn't, it was the hardest thing I probably ever had to do. Because one, I liked him. 2, it didn't feel like a betrayal because I also did it to him, but it was more like I was so confident in my ability to finally do something right in this org community that having to lose out to a fire making challenge, I didn't want to even think about remotely. But if it was anyone, I'm glad it was Ethan, because him being in this final 3, it would have been really tough for any of us to beat him. Let's face it.
I mean, everybody knows why I did what I did. I know I couldn't beat Ethan at the end. It was just Ethan would have taken me if he did win that. But that was just my whole thought process. But obviously I adored Ethan. We played Roblox together again. But he was just like such a lovable person. Like even like Ryan had a biggest crush on him and he wasn't even gay. And he's just such I love Ethan, and I voting him out, like doing that first vote was so hard, but it was like he lied to me and I know he was lying to me. Like it was just so clear and I just hated it, and I hated him lying to me. I hate when people lie to me. That's my biggest pet peeve in games. And so I knew he was lying to me, and voting him out was so hard. And I won't lie, I didn't want him to come back. Like it was between Ryan, Kate, and him. Obviously I wanted the other 2. And when he came back, I was like, well, here I go. But he gave me the benefit of the doubt, and I really appreciate him.
And next out is yeah.
Lexi, we made final.
Here we go.
Women battling it out. We love female empowerment.
Oh,
You
well,
know,
that was fun.
yeah. With the revision of everything, like I'm just looking at the picture sort of as more whole image rather than individuals. And fuck, ladies, we battled through a lot to get here.
Who would have thought?
Telling me you didn't have to go to the fucking Coliseum.
I'm sorry, but if somebody said you'd be at the final 3 with Ivy and Patrick, I'd be like, yeah, okay.
If
Let's
somebody
do that.
told me I would have made it past a merge at the start of the game, I would have laughed in their face. I think something that's also really interesting is I never expected this being a final 3. Because I feel like we were also like the underdog players that I didn't know anything about Pat going in. I knew about Lexi going in, but like everything that I knew about Lexi wasn't like the best because I had people in my DMs being like, don't trust Lexi. But,
which is weird because I'm such like I always, this game actually made me like come out of my comfort zone because I lied to people and I don't usually lie to people in games.
Same here. I barely lied in this game. And honestly, to be completely honest, like my first impressions of Lexi, like actually getting to talk to Lexi, was I thought she was really chill. I thought she was really cool. I thought like maybe we could work something out. And then of course what happened had happened. But we worked it out in the end.
I know.
After I voted out her partner, but we worked it out.
Like I said, I was more upset about Kate than Ryan, so it's okay.
I love how immediately after your partner was voted out, you immediately came to me and were like, I'm so.
I was pissed. I was like, Ivy's the only one who hasn't lied to me in this game.
I mean,
Hashtag and then what happened?
plus it also ended up being the best thing for you to do because then I got you that connection with Ethan. You're welcome. But
I had a connection with Ethan.
I mean, yeah, but I was the one that told him basically that you were basically going to be the vote.
I knew.
And
I would be the vote.
he also was the first to tell me that he had 2 idols. So
I figured. Because he kept saying he'd play the idol on me, and I was like, well, that's weird that you just would play the idol on me. Like,
yeah. But that's one thing that I will say about Ethan that was like less than subtle is he didn't even try to hide the fact that he had idols. He didn't outright come and say it, but he was way too secure in everything to assume that he thought it would be a straight vote.
Well, it was also something that was easily assumable considering the fact that we all knew Kevin had a piece. We all knew Ethan had a piece going in. We all knew Kate had a full idol going in. So it was very easy to assume that he had at least 1 going in. We didn't know exactly how many he had, except for me. Like the main reason why he immediately came to me was because Jen was lying to him about like the force field alliance and everything like that when I was being very straight up with him. So I was so it worked out in my favor. And like my first impressions of Pat were like, I don't know how I'm going to vibe with this dude. I feel like he's either going to really like me or he's really going to hate me. And then, of course, pre-merge happened. And then, like, we didn't talk for, like, 2 rounds. And then he messages me and he's like, honestly, you're, like, so bubbly and happy at tribals. Thank you. And I'm like, okay, we can make something work. And then live night happened. And then we made something work.
I felt bad I never talked to Pat because obviously Kate, so I was like, doesn't really, but I don't know. I love talking to you, Pat.
Right back at you, Lexi. I think that's one thing that I would have liked to do better at the merge was actually like talk one-on-one rather than use Kate as a conduit.
Yeah.
Honestly, my biggest regret in the game was not getting on call one-on-one with people more often because like I'm someone that considers myself to be a very social player too, but I think it also worked to my benefit because I'm here. But I'm someone that loves to like get on call with people, actually connect with people. Like in the entirety of the merge, like I've gotten on like partner calls with Goodies and Curtis. I've been on partner calls with Ethan and Kevin. I gotten on one-on-ones with Ethan and Jen and Sunshine. Like, but they were all people that I already really connected with. I didn't feel like I was able to connect a lot more with people like Kate and like you, Lexi, until the end. So,
oh,
yeah,
that's definitely
yeah.
a gift.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot Ricky was still here.
We're just chilling now. We're just shooting the shit.
Yeah, you can.
Finn.
I guess not. He probably
It-
walked away.
Fell
I was on
asleep.
mute. Okay, I'll stop it.